Hello everyone, my name is Brian Baker of Middle Tennessee State University and the Professional Counseling Program. I will now be presenting to the audience an overview of my literature review on bullying prevention and intervention in the school setting. Over the course of this presentation, I'll be going over the definition of bullying, the impact it has on those involved, the responsibility of counselors to play their part in stopping it, and current methods of both prevention and intervention, and finally, implications for the field of counseling. The following information pertains to bullying that occurs on school grounds or during transit to or from school, as anything else is beyond the scope and boundaries of the school counselor. There are many definitions of bullying with subtle differences, but they all include the following main ideas. 1. That it is recurring, repeated action that causes harm to the victim. The harm can be physical, emotional, or even social in nature. The underlying factor in all bullying is that there is an imbalance of power. The bully has power over the victim in some form or another and takes advantage of that fact, using it to create a greater disadvantage for the victim. Bullying can occur in 4 different ways. It can be carried out verbally, physically, socially, or from cyber or online harassment. Verbal bullying includes things such as taunting, name-calling, or speech that is in some way sinister in nature. Physical includes shoving, punching, kicking, etc. Social bullying is done when harmful gossip is continually spread about the victim, or when students segregate into groups and purposefully exclude others intending to cause social or emotional harm, or otherwise ganging up on an individual. And cyberbullying includes repeated attacks against someone via online communication and or spreading gossip and personal information very quickly to a potentially much wider audience than just the school students. The majority of research done on bullying and methods of prevention and intervention has been done in the last decade or so. It was long considered a normal part of childhood development, but is now recognized as a severe issue. Because of this rather recent recognition, many methods being implemented in school are new and not yet comprehensively tested. Bullying affects everyone involved negatively, including bystanders. Simply witnessing bullying behavior on a daily basis can have effects of depression, hopelessness, and numbness in children. Research has shown effects on victims in particular to be substantial and enduring, able to last well into adulthood if gone uncorrected. Bullying has been linked to trust issues, increased feelings of distress and anxiety, and higher amounts of expressed physical, psychological, and emotional symptomology in children. If gone unchecked, it can also lead to violent releases of stress that causes damage to school property or harm to other people. The most common reaction victims to bullying portray is avoidance. In other words, they choose flight over fight, since they are already at a disadvantage to the bully. They try to avoid the people, places, or anything else that triggers emotions or memories created by these bullying experiences. Violent behavior often occurs when the victim no longer feels that avoidance is an option. The well-being of the school students should be the counselor's primary concern. It is part of their responsibility to make sure students feel safe at school and have an optimal learning environment for progressive development. This responsibility stems from the ASCA Code of Ethics, along with the mission statements of the particular school and the role of counselors as outlined by the ACA and other divisions. When it comes to bullying prevention, the earlier that models are introduced, the better. Any prevention model should be systemic, meaning it involves all the stakeholders including students, teachers, parents, and other faculty. It should infiltrate all areas and aspects of the school, and it should be ongoing rather than stopped at the resolution of one particular incident, or else it will continue to happen in the future. The attention of a prevention model should be based on the bystander population, since this is the largest group of students. If faculty can get the bystanders to recognize and actively stop or report bullying behaviors, this is a very efficient way to prevent bullying. Children copy behaviors that they see being rewarded, Therefore, it is often a good idea to provide incentives. Making bullying prevention popular is the desired effect. A solid prevention model should include the following 8 categories. The model should have the support and backing of the school's administration for organizational purposes, clarity of objectives, and better collaboration with parents or guardians. The model should include positive behavior support systems as previously described. The model should be data-driven, using data to accurately assess, evaluate, justify goals, and pinpoint individuals or areas that need attention. All students and staff, including teachers, janitorial, cafeteria, bus driving personnel, and anyone else working for the school should be made aware of what constitutes as bullying and how to properly handle it or report it. Students should be taught critical social skills such as empathy, respecting others and diversity, the difference between tattling and reporting, and the importance of working together. Individual intervention should be applied to any bullies or victims already identified, and/or follow-up assessments of these students, and the generalization of the program, meaning there are visible reminders all around the school to prevent or report bullying, or any method that serves to remind students and faculty to continue watching out for it. There are 3 aspects to intervention. These are identifying the victims, interventions for the victims, and interventions for the bullies themselves. Identifying victims can be difficult due to their tendency of avoidance or fear of speaking about it. Also, though a counselor is bound by the Code of Ethics to help create an environment free of abuse, bullying, and harassment, they are also bound by their respect of privacy and voluntary counseling. It would be an invasion of a student's privacy for a school counselor to ask them if they are a victim of bullying and begin addressing the issue. The counselor needs witnesses to report the incidents or the individual to seek help themselves before beginning an intervention. The counselor needs to act on more than a hunch, in other words, and cannot force a student to accept counseling intervention. Some methods counselors employ to identify victims as self-report surveys and peer nomination slips. Interviewing students based on reports provided by peer nominations to determine which incidents are actual bullying can help. There are 2 main stages to victim intervention. The first is to make changes to the environment by making the school community aware that bullying is occurring, but keeping confidentiality in mind, and also seeking support from administration and teachers and parents of the victim. The second stage is intervention for the individual. Group sessions work very well with bully victims. Problem-based learning is a recent technique being studied, which victims are brought together and bullying is presented as a school-wide issue the counselor needs their help in fixing. They are taught to approach the problem as if it were another school project, following a scientific-like formula and looking at the situation objectively. Bully intervention mainly focuses on proactive aggressors. As a self-defense mechanism, proactive aggressors bully others to keep people at a safe distance and push their strengths excessively onto others to keep their own vulnerabilities hidden. Also, they often gain a re-established feeling of self-worth and their ability to control others. Intervention of the bully should include making them understand the effects of their actions on others, but also told that changing their behavior is in their own best interest. Since they often lack a sense of empathy, trying to convince them to change for the victim's benefit is often unsuccessful. The counselor should make sure the expectations for the bully's behavior changes are made absolutely clear, because they will likely seek loopholes or ways to continue causing harm to others by bending the regulations placed upon them. The counselor should also be careful not to fall into the same traps the bully uses on other students, as well as being careful not to praise too much or too quickly and risk of reigniting their hunger of self-worth. The primary implications for counselors is to obtain more education and specialized training in bullying prevention and intervention. Counselors should use prevention plans designed specifically for their school and its unique population of students. Too often, teachers are not even aware of the bullying going on around them at school and believe students feel safe when they do not. Many methods currently being employed are new, and so further research is still needed. This concludes the presentation. Following are my references.